Welcome back to Battalion Wars. Today, we're gonna close the curtain on the Solar Empire campaign with the Battle of the Coral Atolls. A very strategic mission that requires a lot of thinking and careful control of your units in order to clear with an S rank. This is a pretty easy mission to mess up if you're a beginner, or if it's your first time playing the level, but after clearing it so many times, with a little luck I can get an S rank pretty consistently, but it's still a pretty tough mission. And I do like it very much for that reason.
The Exylvanians are using this small chain of islands as the command center for their Coral Atolls campaign. Sprawling across two of the northernmost islands, their HQ offers repair and resupply opportunities for all Exylvanian units. Frontier Command believes that if we capture the command center, the Exylvanians will be forced to retreat back to their homeland.
This mission is also a favorite of mine because it's the first mission where you get control of a battle station. Yes, apparently the Frontier has their own battle station design, and as you can see, it has, in fact, 6 turrets, 4 machine guns, and 2 rocket launchers, as well as its main cannon, which has enough destructive caliber to take out a heavy tank in one hit. And it sends rocket units blasting off again. Now, as you can see, the main cannon cannot turn, so when I fire it, after turning a little bit, it's going to fire off to the side, which we don't like. But the explosion was still big enough to catch that rifle grunt. Now, that is unfortunately not the highlight of this mission. You also have control of a bomber, which is important, because you can use the bomber to take out these artillery units before they start firing at you. They'll start shooting if your battalion reaches the beach of that island right there. That's effectively where their range is, and I'm going to bring them out here so that they'll actually be moving while I'm busy with the artillery units. Not too hard to destroy them all. I don't often get them all in a single bombing run. It takes 2 runs for me usually. Now, the Exylvanians aren't stupid this time. Surprise, surprise. They'll notice that you have the bomber, and they'll take aim to destroy it with their gunships. Yes, gunships, which, by the way, we also saw landing on the helipads in the opening cutscene there. I'm gonna try to bomb that heavy tank. Unfortunately, my aim seems to be off today. Now, the gunships can actually destroy the bombers since you're flying low enough that the gunships can actually shoot at it. Now, obviously, in real life, a bomber would be flying too high for a helicopter to shoot at it. Then again, if this were real life, bombers would be very ineffective anyways because, you know, it's not as easy to target enemies in real life bombers. Of course, everything is not as easy as it seems in real life compared to video games. Anyway, the gunships can be destroyed by the missile veterans, obviously. There are also ACAC units on most of the islands except for the one you start on. But of course, we've touched upon this before, ACAC versus Bomber is not a matchup that is favorable to the ACAC units because they can't defend well against bombs being dropped on them. Surprise, surprise. Of course, you are going to want to use the bomber to take out the heavy tanks. Maybe I'll actually get it on this run. There we go. So, our objective is to take control of the 2 capture points, one on the northwestern island and one on the northeastern. It's also humorous to see Vlad constantly harass Ingrid about the bomber. Makes you feel hilarious when you're able to annoy the enemy like that. Seeing their reaction and all. There's also some prisoners on the middle island here, but the battle station can actually not drive onto it because the bridge is not big enough to hold the battle station. Speaking of the battle station, you'll notice that I haven't used it that much. Well, manually anyways. That's because the bomber is the highlight of this mission. I mean, the enemy has a battle station coming up right here, and I'm actually going to soften it up a little with a bomber because I can. I still left some ACAC units alive, so they're going to do some damage to my bomber. But I can free the solar assault veterans here, and they'll shoot up the enemies on that island for me, conveniently enough. I do recommend freeing them as soon as possible, because after you free them, I believe they try to follow whatever unit you're currently controlling manually, but I've noticed that they stay on that island until you get to them, even if they're freed. So who knows, maybe they're smarter than they look, which is saying a lot for an AI unit. Sorry, but our armies aren't going to meet battle station to battle station. Well, they are, except your battle station is at half its health. And now that the bomber is down to its last leg of health, I'm going to basically leave it over there. You don't want it to get destroyed. Not only is it a good unit, both the battle station and bomber are worth a lot as far as your technique score goes. So don't let them get destroyed. Of course, I still managed to drive away with 100 technique, even after losing a few infantry, so yeah. Anyhow, coming up is the enemy's battle station. Apologies if this is a little boring, driving through the islands after all of the enemies have been cleared away because of the bomber, but I tried my best to make this as interesting as I could. Maybe I shouldn't have used the bomber so much. That would have made things a little more interesting. Maybe that should be a challenge for this map. Play it without the bomber. Yeah, and maybe I'll try beating all of the levels in this game with only one unit. Now these ACAC units appear to be able to fire at something. I don't know what. Or maybe it's just a coincidence that all of those bullets went into the same direction. Now I'm going to control the bomber here for a brief moment, just so I can lock onto this capture point and order some of my infantry to start moving towards it. They can handle themselves, they can handle the capture point on their own pretty easily. I mean, it is 4 flame veterans and 4 rifle grunts. We've already seen that flame veterans are very bad at this game, but hey, maybe it'll be alright. There was only a heavy tank over there that I bombed. Pretty sure I bombed it. And now for the northeastern island. This island has a bunch of heavy tanks, a battle station, and some additional gunships. So we're gonna need the missile veterans for this one. I'd use the battle station alone, except that it has no anti-air capability. Shame that. Oh yes, well, you'll also notice that the bomber is flying in and out of the level boundary now, since it's on its own and all. The only problem with that is, if it's outside the level boundary, then you can't control it at all. Which is not really an issue anymore, because, you know, the bomber's at such low health that I'm not going to use it at all anyways. So here comes the enemy gunships, and the battle station is right behind them. Seems I did lose a flame veteran there. We don't need them anymore, though. I have to wonder why they gave us flame veterans in this map. I mean, you have a battle station. I don't think the enemy infantry are going to be a problem. Now, you'll notice a path split in the road up ahead. To the left is the capture point. To the right is, for some reason, a POW camp with solar assault veterans in it. I have no idea why it's there, because after you take out this heavy tank, then the capture point is pretty much yours, because there's only a couple more infantry up there. We're nice guys though, so we're going to free them anyways by firing at the barbed wires from long range. Then those assault veterans will just sit and twiddle their thumbs, because all of the enemies are gone, and we just have to take control of the capture point, and then that'll be it. Of course, my battle station is going to slip. I was worried for a moment that it would fall into the water and die, But there was no water nearby, fortunately. And now we wait. Wait for the flag to be raised. I guess it's worth noting. No, I can't think of anything that's worth noting. Oh, wait, here we go. Yeah, could it be any more obvious what Ingrid is going to do based on this dialogue? I mean, this game and its sequel has a real problem with spoiling plot points before they actually happen. But as you can see, S rank. I must have missed a few infantry. Maybe it was that one rocket unit I skipped. That wouldn't be worth 89, the 11% though. Next up, we're taking the fight to the Exylvanians, because now we're in Exylvanian territory. Sort of. We're in that red part of the map, because apparently the blue part is Exylvania, but I don't really know what the red part is supposed to be. Is that before Exylvania? Or something? I don't know. Maybe it's, another country? No.
Howdy, Commander, and welcome to the Exylvanian hinterlands. Pretty, ain't they? The 4 bridges that cross the river Styx are the only way to cross these treacherous canyons. And find the road to Exylvania. Whatever happens, we gotta keep these bridges in one piece. Vlad knows this, and he has demolition teams working on the bridges already. We need to capture these 3 radar arrays to prevent them from broadcasting the detonation signal. Time is a factor here, Commander. We got less than 7 minutes to capture those radar arrays before Vlad can destroy the bridges.
Now, before we get into the mission proper, I haven't talked about the music in this game too much because it typically gets drowned out by all the combat noises and people talking. But this level's music, oh man, I really like it. It's a remix of Operation POW from way back at the beginning of the game. Both that mission and this one are time sensitive, so it makes sense. And I love this remix too. The music in Battalion Wars is very much underappreciated in my opinion. More so in the sequel, but this game has its moments too. And you can see that I use the heavy tank as a pseudo-artillery there. There are a lot of MG towers posted on the sides of cliffs and places like that, in really creative places that you wouldn't expect them to be. There are also bombers, and we only have 4 missile veterans, so dealing with them is going to be a teensy bit tricky. Lots of rocket units guard this bridge. They are quickly and swiftly ran over, as are these MG towers. There's a jerry can sitting next to the capture point for some reason. I guess in case you decide to just rush with a heavy tank, they wanted to give you a little reward for trying that. I don't know. So that's the first capture point, and now we have to get out of here real fast because there are artilleries past that other bridge there. However, the bridge is blocked, so there's no way to destroy them. Now that is creative level design right there. Not letting us destroy the artillery until later so that we have to actually deal with getting shot by them by running away. It makes sense to me, alright? The second capture point is not too far off from the first. I should note that it's actually not too difficult to take any of the capture points, maybe because they didn't want to stall you too much because of the timer and everything. But, you know, a little challenge would be nice. There is no hard mode in Battalion Wars 1 or 2. Through hacking, I was able to create a sort of hard mode in Battalion Wars 2, but it's really not that much different from just playing the vanilla game. A hard campaign would have been really nice and added a lot of replayability, but considering all of the effort they put into the main game, with all the voice acting and everything for all of the missions, I guess they ran out of time or energy. Anyhow, I was checking the sky there to see if the bomber had been destroyed, and I saw a jerry can in the sky, so that does confirm that an air unit was destroyed. Just in case you missed the destruction of the air unit and want to make sure. Of course, you could just check the map. The map screen is the most overpowered thing. It's hilarious. Just some rocket units here. The heavy tank's looking a little dusty, though. There's the last one. It has exactly the same defenses as the other two. Some MG towers and a bunch of infantry. No tanks or nothing. Yeah, they really needed to defend their capture points better. I'm gonna switch to a full health heavy tank here. I'm gonna climb up to where the artilleries are. They're guarded by a couple of heavy tanks, but we'll definitely want to destroy them. And is that another bomber I hear? Oh boy. But the mission's not over yet. We may have secured our road into Exylvania, but now it's time to mop up the rest of the enemy units. Hopefully 2 heavy tanks can beat 1. Now to get rid of these artilleries, which have been strategically placed in the center of the bridge. I like this level. It's very nicely designed. Of course, then I just shot them all with tank cannons, and it's like, okay, level's over. It may have been fun, but it's still, you know, level's over and all that. And why are... oh yeah, we also get reinforcements here. Enough missile veterans to put us at double digits, which is very nice. It'll help for taking out that bomber. Speaking of which, I'm trying to find you here. There you are! Looks like they got it handled. Or not, the heavy tank apparently blocked some of the missiles. Now, here's a really interesting place. This place has a bunch of artilleries and heavy tanks in it. Apparently it was a trap, but I already knew it was coming. So I'm going to destroy them all with a single heavy tank. Yes, that tried and true strategy still works. But the craters, as you see, are an interesting obstacle. Obviously, falling into one is bad, not only because you'll be stuck, but because the sulfuric acid in the craters will drain your health until you're destroyed. And that goes for every unit except air units, because they're obviously not touching. Exylvania is full of sulfuric acid, which really sets it apart from the other areas. Not only from a aesthetic standpoint, because we know Tundra had snow, sort of, and the Dune Sea was, well, a desert, and I'm bouncing around here for some reason. Must be those artillery cannons. And of course the Coral Atolls was a tropical paradise. But then we go into Exylvania and it's full of acid and other stuff. Makes you wonder what Vlad was doing to the environment to cover it in acid of all things. It's pretty bleak. Also, are there more bombers? Jeez. Fortunately, some Frontier fighters come in. You can't control them, but they're just there to get rid of the bombers, so good enough, right? Actually, that does remove the tension of dealing with bombers, since the fighters are just going to take care of them anyways. I have no idea how I survived that bombing run, or this one, in fact. That was extremely lucky. Now we just have to exit the level and the mission will be over. Collect a couple more jerry cans here to make sure. Of course, in order to exit the stage, only one of your units has to cross that line. I'm going to try and get rid of the bombers by bringing my missile veterans up here. But I'm pretty sure I have enough power to produce an S rank anyways.
Not so fast, General Herman. You are a long way from the Vladstag, and Exylvania tends to be unkind to unwelcome visitors. But wait. Where is my sword? Ingrid! Übel! Those fools! Send for my personal gunship. I must away to the cenotaph.
Gee, I wonder what's going on. Well, that's another S rank under my belt. 4 levels remain in this game, and one of them sees me getting a perfect 100, 100, 100. Which one was it? We will see.